The Barkscrolls, a Chronicle of New Faery. Oktoberfest Shenanigans. Saturday, Blood Moon the 5th, 2019. Crisp air and leaves like pumpkin spice swept through the mountain town of Leavenworth, high in the Barony of Kismet Veil. Like Ulfgard, it had been newly renamed by the Baroness Patience of Blackwatch, now that the lands had been formally designated as under her care. Unfortunately, her ladyship was unable to join the Oktoberfest shenanigans which were getting ready to commence as Ion the Leprechaun and Bjorn both set down a round of fizzing cider on the wooden table. Taryn and Princess Lolly had searched through the crowded seating to find a place where they would all fit. Spreading themselves wide, they made sure that there would be room for Zastari, who was on her way. There was a genial couple sharing the opposite end of the benches with the FAE group. Notes from a Van Morrison tune wended their way through the partying crowds, and the juicy aroma of bratwurst and pretzels was enough to make even Baron Hammerhand's tummy growl in spirit from hundreds of miles away. Gunther the Troll had been unable to join his fellows because he was recovering from a trip to see the Tooth Fairy. Even though his battle for liberation of the bridge with the slavering, knuckle-dragging troll, Retula, had been worth the fight, it was hard won. His missing teeth would leave a scar that reminded him of the trials he had overcome. At least he was there in thought. "All right," started Lolly, as the group settled into munching on their festive food choices. "As you all know, the ghosts are escaping Count Morbid's graveyards and are running rampant. We have discovered that doing things which draws attention to ghosts draws them out so we can recapture them." Licking her thumb, she handed each of them a list of trivia questions. "Our goal is to find a normie and ask them questions from this list one by one. If they get the answer correct, the energy generated should be enough to draw forth a wayward spirit." "How do we know who goes first?" Bjorn asked around the tasty cheese-dipped pretzel in his mouth. "With this." And as if from under his tall, green top hat, Ion produced a dice roller that looked like a tree stump. "And your D10, of course." Immediately, the foraging of pockets commenced, followed by a clickety-clack as they plunked their dice into the top of the randomizer, each in turn. The sound was strangely addicting, making you wish you could do it again and again. Bjorn won the roll with a high 8 and reached for the list of questions. "All right, what's first?" His finger underlined as he read. "Who is the friendly ghost?" "Oh, that's easy. Everyone knows that." Wasting no time at all, he leaned out to catch the attention of the couple sitting next to them. "Excuse me, would you mind trying to answer a question?" The man and woman were happy to play along in the game and eagerly received their question. "Casper," fired the lady in answer to Bjorn. Hands went up, clapping in cheer, and sure enough, even as they laughed and joked, the tendrils of a wispy ghost found their way into Bjorn's successful hands. The group each took their turns, plunking a dice into the randomizer, and this time it was Taryn who got to choose his target first. Brown eyes skimmed down to the second question. "Who is the ghost of House Slytherin?" "Oh, can I phone a friend?" Lolly eyed the members of the group. "Well, there's no rule that says you can't. How about a compromise? You get one phone a friend for the whole game." This agreement seemed amenable to everyone present, and so out came Taryn's magic mirror. With a few proficient button presses, the voice of a young girl could be heard on the other end. "Hello? Hey, Katie?" Taryn put the phone on speaker so everyone could hear. "I'm playing a game and phoning a friend. Can you answer a question for me?" "Sure, I can try." "Who is the ghost of House Slytherin?" They all leaned in to hear the answer. Her bright voice was clear as Ma Bell. "Oh, that's the Bloody Baron." Another round of cheers and laughs went up from their group as Taryn and Bjorn bid their friend a good evening, thanking her for her assistance. By the time Taryn had pocketed his human tech, a little ghost had slipped in with it. Round 3 belonged to Ion, who scanned the crowds with a scrutinizing eye. Without consulting any of the group, he suddenly made his selection of the new people who were sitting themselves right behind him. Perhaps it was a sort of beard bond thing amongst men, but he singled out the well-groomed gentleman in lederhosen and struck up conversation. "Excuse me, my friends and I are in a game, and I'm trying to find someone who can answer a trivia question for me. Do you know ghosts very well?" "I think I do," he said. "Hit me with your question, and let's see." "Okay," said Ion, "but I'm going to sing it to you a little." The man nodded, and Ion began an eerie sing-song rhyme, which was really quite unfitting for his size and stature. 1, 2, he's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. There, Mark cocked his head. "Is it Freddy Krueger?" "Yes!" the group of Fae exclaimed in unison. They were 3 for 3, and into Ion's vest, another one of Count Morbid's escaped ghosts was tucked. Finishing up their food and drink, the group decided to tarry on from the open-air patio of the Sausage Garden, down the main thoroughfare toward a tavern called Stein. It was marked by the sign overhanging the door of Sasquatch holding a pint. Zastari had messaged that she would meet them there. The beauty of Oktoberfest was all the normies wearing their Austrian and Germanic costumes. The blood moon was slowly waxing toward full behind scattered clouds as they joined the throngs of humans teeming in the streets. Although this merry group of Fae were ears out and fancied up, everyone around them simply assumed that they were just out having a rip-roaring time on the town. Truth, but not in the way Mundy's thought. Once inside, it wasn't difficult to locate the elfin woman and her companion. Her silver lavender hair was encircled with festive flowers and lights, ear tips peeking through her long tresses. The satyr who was with her was nearly as tall as Gunther, little horns protruding from his skull and his hairy legs hidden under a swarthy pair of loose pants. Introductions were made, the rules of the game reiterated, and they all rolled their dice for initiative, as it were. Zastari took the round and wasted no time in weaving her way through the rowdy crowd. This was a far bigger hall than the last establishment, and noise levels were at a high. Seated in the one alcove booth was a Viking-looking man sporting a utilikilt. Leave it to the elf to pick one who was easy on the eyes. Approaching the group, she directed her question toward the lot of them. "Hi." They all turned their attention toward the ethereal woman at the head of their table. "I have a trivia question that I'm looking for the answer to. Do any of you know about ghosts?" Glances and maybes were exchanged. "Hold on," Lolly interjected. "Only one of them can actually deliver the answer. They need a champion." Seemingly according to Zastari's wishes, the fine-looking gent volunteered himself as tribute and was rewarded with the question at hand. Who is the Ghostbusters' pet ghost? "Oh, man! I know this!" exclaimed the Viking, hands flying to his forehead. "Oh, what is it?" The empty stein in front of him may have had something to do with his ability to remember. Leaning over to him, another member of their party whispered, "Yes! That green thing! Slimy? Slimer? Slimer!" By this time, everyone was howling at his antics, and when he finally blurted out the correct name, Zastari congratulated him in her cool style, collected her first ghost of the evening, and returned to the long bar where they were all congregated. Thus the night proceeded, with a fine selection of pear hefeweizen, elderberry cider, and 50 other hoppy or fermented beverages that were on the menu. The questions kept on rolling out to unsuspecting Oktoberfest patrons. Who is the ghost with the most? This ghost lives in the downstairs girls' bathroom at Hogwarts. This ghost is Big Trouble in Little China. Everyone agreed, though, that the hardest question of all was, which ghost loves pottery and demi-moire? That's Patrick Swayze, said Bjorn, before scouting the crowd for a middle-aged demographic to answer his question. Well, that's who played the ghost, the detail-oriented leprechaun pointed out. But what is the ghost's name? Whatever, I still say it's Patrick Swayze, retorted the sworn sword of the King's Guard. And since he's dead now anyway, it counts. This garnered dark laughs from the group. Too soon? They all threw their heads back, tears rolling down their cheeks, and took the opportunity to have a swallow from their mugs. As the night wore on, the crowds on the streets thinned and the air became chilly. In the midnight sky, stars were twinkling as the Fae made their way back to the inn in which they had booked a room. Many more ghosts had been captured for return at the Dumb Supper, where the Queen would be present to witness. It might even be a chance to curry favor for the future.
Hello friends, this is Gun for Hammerhands. Thank you for checking out Fairy Princess Lolly's channel. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Use your troll hammer to ring that little bell icon to get notifications when she posts future videos. And if you'd like to support these magical creations, fly over to our Patreon and join the fairy family. Safe travels!
And now it's time for your Easter egg. If you have listened this far, pick one of the questions that you see on the screen in front of you right now. Type the number and the answer to the question in the comments below, and if you are correct and the first person to answer that number, you will successfully capture a ghost. Thanks for playing!